Alright, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the RAH-66 Comanche. This thing comes in at battle rating 11.3 and the US tech tree as a premium. And overall it can be equipped with up to 14 Hellfires, some Stingers, and it has a 20mm chain gun mounted on it just like that. Now you could say that the Comanche is sort of a mix between an Apache longbow and just your average bog standard Apache. It does come to access to just like any other Apache with Hellfire Bs and a gun, but it also gets access to a radar right here. Now it's actually quite similar to the longbow radar. I'm not sure if it's the same one. Honestly, it doesn't really matter because it's in the end not really too useful, I find. I mean, you can use it to kind of detect air targets coming at you or spawning in, stuff like that. So in that case, you know, it does have a bit more of a use. But then in return, compared to the Apaches, you do get access to less Hellfires. But you also get access to Stingers, so you know what, maybe the package isn't all that bad. Its main competitor is the RAH-64. The thing's a squadron vehicle, and it gets the full 16, but it doesn't have Stingers. It doesn't even have any flares either, which the RAH doesn't have either. But yeah, I guess this thing does have more missiles, but it doesn't get Stingers, and it doesn't get the radar, so you have to kind of give some and take some, as they say. Alright, for the next game, I'm here on Winter Maginot, which is always interesting because this is actually a fairly decent helicopter map. But there are still quite a lot of trees. I do see a couple people down here. These are going to be the ones I'm going to scout first because my teammates on the other spawn can probably see them first. There's also this guy right over here who is going to be extremely dangerous, so let's just scout him. And this guy as well. Let's just set my marker right over there. Scout him out like that. And I guess maybe this T-80 here as well. And oh, I died. Okay, well, I had a fun time. And yeah, my drone is hurtling towards the ground. So unless I can maybe get off one more scout here. Oh yeah, okay, that one missed. Oh well. At least one of the targets that I've scouted died, so that'll help me out. And there we go, 2 targets. And I already have enough to spawn in a helicopter, so it really is that easy. That's the good thing about helicopters, I guess they're really cheap to spawn in. But they also aren't really that effective, or sometimes they're effective, but it's quite rare that they are. Alright, so what I'm gonna do first here is set my heli sight onto the enemy spawn so that if anyone spawns in an SPA, I'll be able to spot them relatively quickly. Just gonna turn on my thermals here, and maybe I'll actually start focusing on targets that I see. The guy's scouted right there, but he popped smoke, so we're not gonna go after him. And I don't really see anybody else. So let's just try and gain a bit of altitude now, and see what we find. There's a BMP all the way down there. But he's going to be behind cover before my missile's going to be able to hit, so I don't think it's worth it shooting at him. There was a guy right there. We can't go after him anymore. Ooh, there's a guy there. It's a good target. 12 seconds till impact. There is another tank right there. I'm going to wait a bit. Then maybe I'll shoot it right now. There we go. Let's go after this guy. Oh no, wait, no, I shouldn't have fired that one. Oh, never mind. That was a good idea that I shot that. 4 seconds into the Tunguska in the sky. Not in the sky, on the ground. Let's quickly go down to low altitude here so that I can spot him first, because I don't actually know where he is. Probably in the closer spawn right here, because there is a mountain in the way. The other one. For some reason, my target isn't working. I think it's because I had someone selected, but there we go. Let's just do that. And what I'll do is the classic Hellfire pre-fire, where I try to shoot it into the air, wait for it to gain a bit of altitude, and then try and go after whoever's on the ground here. I do see a guy right there. It's not what I was going after, though. I wonder if it'll actually hit him, though. No, it won't. Okay. Fair enough. Problem is that guy has an LWS. So, oh god. Please lock. Yes. Honestly, he should have smoked up there because he does have an LWS. He knew that missile was coming for him, but I guess the average premium player doesn't really understand the game. And my rotors don't seem to be one to obey me, but you know what? That's another problem for another day. Now I have to find out where that Tunguska is because he is actually starting to annoy me. He should be visible, but evidently he isn't. Oh, there he is. Oh. He went after that recon micro. There, no, he went after me. Oh. Well, then those are drone up, which can actually be an issue. Ah, that's where he is. A bit close, but there we go. Let's just launch an ATGM, wait a couple seconds, gain altitude. He should be right over here. I'm just gonna fire off a second missile. I'd rather waste a couple missiles than eat a Tunguska, so I think that's fair enough. Oh, there he is. Okay, there we go, he's dead. But another missile fired, so I have to quickly go into hiding now. Looks like it's a 9K3, I think that's an OSA. Or something, but there's something else firing tracers, so there's definitely maybe like another Tunguska or something. So we're gonna have to deal with that as well. Probably in the far spawn. I don't think they're spawning in the close spawn. So, let's just go try and find them again. There is something on my MTI, but that's my friendly. Okay, never mind. So we don't really have to care about him. Looks like our team's kind of already in their spawn though, so maybe I don't actually have to worry about that too much. There's a not a Tunguska, I forgot what it was called. The Tor. Right over there. Honestly don't know if I'm aiming at a dead body or if I'm aiming at something. Okay, very nice. There's the Tor. There was the Tor. So we don't care about him. This guy right here. I mean, I don't know, I think my team can handle that. There's a guy right down there. Probably distance myself from the battlefield a bit more. Because I'm a bit close right now. Well, evidently there's still an SPA somewhere, I just can't seem to be able to see them. Honestly, that missile was kind of wasted. Oh, there he is. Oh, the missile is heading towards him, which is the good news. And by the time he notices, no way he can intercept that, so... There we go, he's dead. Let's go back down to lower altitude now. This guy is still alive, so I guess we could try and go after him. The problem is he's behind, like, dead bodies, and they attempt to mess up the lock. So unless he's perfectly still, my missile won't be able to hit him. Maybe we just won't. Because my team, I think they're going to win without my help there. There's a tank right here. But yeah, there's no point really going after him. Alright, not bad. Alright, the next clip is going to demonstrate how this thing really is sometimes an atrocious experience to play. Exhibit A, facing Iris Ts. There is really no way you can handle them. I mean, okay, there is if you really get lucky and, you know, if you're really good at the game, but at that point you wouldn't even be watching this video. I'm gonna already pre-fired 2 Hellfires at him just to try and hope that, you know, I hit him, but unfortunately, first of all, I locked the launch platform, and second of all, there's already 2 missiles heading towards me. So even if I do try and dodge now, since they're in their terminal IR guidance phase, there's really no chance of surviving them. Now, another problem you're going to be faced with when playing the Comanche is that sometimes your camera is just going to refuse to lock the enemy, even when you clearly see them. Here is Exhibit A. I've pre-fired a missile here at this guy thinking that I'm going to be able to look at him. Look how wrong I was. You can see here that whenever I sort of like lose stabilization that I'm trying to lock him, but it just isn't working. Even if there's nothing in his way, you know, there's yeah, no clouds, no nothing. And just like that, you can't really lead Hellfires on moving targets that easily, so my missile just ends up eating that container instead. and me having to escape to low altitude here because the Tor M1 was looking right at me. Now I do know where that Tor is, so I'm just going to put a marker on him and then pre-fire a missile. But even then, like, the fact that sometimes the lock just refuses to work is extremely frustrating. And this doesn't even account for the fact that Hellfires essentially always need a lock to hit their target, especially when they're moving. And with all the trees you see these days, all the, you know, cover behind buildings, or all the cover in general that you face, Hellfires are really just not really nice to use. You're much better off using a direct guided missile, something like the Ataka or the Vihr, are much more better when it comes to actually going after ground targets, just because they fly in a straight line. Hell, maybe even tows are better, or hots. And then of course the fire and forget weaponry is a whole nother category. Those would of course actually work as they're IR guided, so usually they actually do hit their targets, as opposed to that Hellfire there, which was aimed at a completely stationary target, and it still missed that as well. Alright, in the next clip here, you're actually going to see me try and lock that guy unsuccessfully. Once, twice, there we go, and it just isn't working. Luckily for me, he's actually stationary, so after me trying to frustratingly find out why my camera isn't locking, I end up giving up and just firing a Hellfire just like that on him. Now he does start moving, which makes things a whole lot more complicated. And luckily for me, he was traveling in a completely straight line, so you can actually sort of lead them. I say sort of. It's only when they're really traveling in a straight line and they're still relatively slow. As soon as they start moving a bit more erratically, or you know, they start going really fast, then you have problems. Just like this here, you can't really predict how to aim them either because you don't really see them. So just like that, I do unfortunately miss on that. I think it's an MBT 2000 or a ZTZ or whatever. Finally, try and use my last missile here on that. What is that called? PGZ-04 or whatever. You know, end up kind of launching the sight way out of range because I can't really lock him, and my missile ends up going into the sea. So yeah, overall, really not a recommendable experience. Alright, so my final thoughts on the RAH-66 Comanche is that it really isn't worth your money. That tends to be because at this battle rating, 9 out of 10 times, you're better off spawning in a tank. You do have Hellfires, you do have Stingers, and you do have Thermals. The problem is, at 11.3, you can always get up to 12.0, and then you'll face the Iris-T, and even when you don't, a lot of maps, if not a majority of maps, have a lot of cover, a lot of trees, and they all disrupt your lock. You know, if you think you want to buy this because, you know, it's a collector's item and it looks cool and whatnot, then by all means. Just as a competitive vehicle, I really can't recommend it, or a vehicle to grind nonetheless. At this point, you're better off just ticking that box, which allows you to research helicopter with ground vehicles and then golden eagle your way through the stock grind if you don't feel like doing it. Again, unfortunately, a lot of American helicopters, or I think all American helicopters, actually have Hellfires as their final loadout, which is a bit disappointing. It's too bad they don't have any fire and forget stuff. So in general, it's not really even worth buying. If I would use a helicopter at this battle rating, it'd probably be the YAH, since it has more missiles. It does have the 30mm. Sure, it doesn't have Stingers, but you don't really use them all that much anyway. And 9 out of 10 times, you're just better off spawning in a ground vehicle anyway. So there's that. Anyway, hopefully you have enjoyed this video here. Let me know what you guys would like to see in the upcoming video, and I'll see you guys then. Bye bye.